Alice was sitting idly by the riverbank with her sister, feeling drowsy and bored, when she saw a white rabbit pass by. He wore a waistcoat, carried a large pocket watch, and muttered, oh dear, I shall be late." This was enough to pique Alice's sudden curiosity, and she followed him instantly. Alice followed the rabbit straight into a deep rabbit hole, finding herself tumbling down what felt like a very deep well lined with cupboards and bookshelves. She landed safely and found herself in a long, low hall lined with locked doors. On a glass table, she found a small golden key that fit only the tiniest door, which opened onto the most beautiful garden. She wanted to enter. To enter, she needed to shrink. She found a bottle labeled, "Drink Me." After cautious hesitation, consuming it, she shrank down to 10 inches high. However, she had left the key on the large glass table, now impossibly out of reach. Frustrated, she found a cake labeled, "Eat Me." She ate it and grew enormous, striking her head on the ceiling. Overwhelmed and miserable, she burst into tears, crying until she had created a massive pool of tears covering the entire floor. Alice, having managed to shrink once more, swam in her own pool of tears, encountering a pompous mouse and several other creatures, a dodo, a lory, and an eaglet. The mouse attempted to tell a dry, monotone history lesson to dry them off. The dodo, deciding this was inefficient, organized a caucus race where everyone ran in circles for half an hour, stopped suddenly, and then everyone was declared a winner and given a sweet as a prize. Alice soon found herself alone and stumbled upon the white rabbit's house again. The rabbit, in a flustered haste, mistook her for his maid, Marianne, and sent her inside to fetch his gloves and fan. Inside, Alice found a mysterious potion and drank it. She grew so large that one arm stuck out the window and one leg went up the chimney, trapping her completely inside the house. The rabbit and the other creatures tried to dislodge her by throwing stones, which to Alice's utter surprise turned into small cakes upon hitting the floor. She ate one and finally shrank, escaping the house and fleeing into the wood. Deep in the wood, Alice encountered a large blue caterpillar sitting on top of a mushroom, calmly smoking a hookah. The caterpillar challenged her fundamental understanding of self, repeatedly asking, "Who are you?" and criticizing her fluctuating size and confusion. Before crawling away, the caterpillar instructed her that one side of the mushroom would make her taller and the other side would make her smaller, giving her determined control over her size for the first time. After adjusting her size, Alice came upon a small, chaotic house. Peering inside, she found the perpetually grinning Duchess nursing a sharp, irritating, screaming baby while the cook violently stirred a soup containing an immense amount of pepper, causing everyone to loud, uncontrollably sneeze. The Duchess, after handing the baby over to Alice with a worn-out, cryptic comment, suddenly vanished. As Alice carried the howling infant, it began to change shape and grunt until it finally transformed entirely into a pig. Alice, concluding that it would make a very bad baby, set the pig free. Alice next met the Cheshire Cat, a creature defined by his massive, disembodied grin. He could vanish and reappear at will, often leaving only his mischievous, floating grin behind. The cat engaged Alice in a philosophical discussion about whether the people she was meeting, like the residents of the Duchess's house, were mad, concluding that since everyone in Wonderland was mad, Alice must be too. He directed her toward the Mad Hatter. Alice arrived at the Mad Tea Party, hosted by the Mad Hatter, the March Hare, and the perpetually slurred, sleepy Dormouse. The atmosphere was openly rude and hostile, and the conversation was filled with unanswerable riddles such as, "Why do you think a raven is like a writing desk?" and the guests kept shifting places because they were eternally stuck at 6 o'clock. Alice, tired of their illogical company and insulting behavior, and left the party in disgust. Alice then found herself in the royal garden. She watched 3 card gardeners, 2, 5, and 7 of spades, frantically painting white roses red because they had accidentally planted the wrong color. The terrifying Queen of Hearts soon arrived in a magnificent procession of card soldiers, courtiers, and her husband, the meek and subdued weak King of Hearts. The queen was volatile and prone to issuing execution orders by shouting, "Off with his head!" Alice was forced to participate in the royal croquet game. This was a chaotic confusion, nightmare of disorganization. Live flamingos were used as mallets, live hedgehogs were used as balls, and the card soldiers bent themselves over to serve as behoops, constantly moving out of place. The queen's rage and constant threats of execution made the game miserable, and Alice was genuine relief when she was led away by the griffin. The griffin, a creature with the head and wings of an eagle and the body of a lion, introduced Alice to the mock turtle, a deeply, profoundly sad creature whose face was that of a turtle but whose body was covered in a veal skin. The mock turtle wept constantly and told Alice mournful tales of his youth, including the famous dance instruction for the lobster quadrille. The adventure culminated at the trial of the Knave of Hearts, who was accused of stealing the queen's tarts. The King of Hearts served as effective judge, and the trial was a complete farce, designed to prove guilt rather than innocence. Witnesses, including the Mad Hatter, provided useless, manic, irrelevant testimony. During the chaotic trial, Alice felt herself growing larger and stronger when the queen introduced the absurd, illogical Rule 42, which dictated all persons more than a mile high must leave the court, and demanded a sentence before the verdict. Alice finally stood up, now towering over the tiny court. With triumphant courage, she declared, "Who cares for you? You're nothing but a pack of cards." The cards flew up and swarmed over her. Alice cried out and suddenly woke up on the riverbank with her sister, the sound of the flying cards transforming back into the sound of rustling leaves. Her sister gently brushed the dry leaves from Alice's face, confirming that the entire fantastical adventure had indeed been a very vivid dream.